that I'm having to make up for. I'm not using any adjectives.
That's
Yeah,
I
was
growing.
totally in disbelief of the way I carried on when the lights came on for a podcast. You guys will not be seeing that because I did not share it. And please don't go look for it. And don't get it confused with Mr. Hey, hey, hey.
You didn't believe this here. No, the banquet we'll be going to on Saturday is sold out. Just got confirmation. I think it's the 18th. Listen. I just got notification this morning. The Savior Day, Rosemont Human Service Appreciation Banquet honoring interns, community advocates. Rosemont Human Service Appreciation Banquet.
And you guys can't come because you didn't get a ticket.
Honoring interns and community advocates. April the 18th, 6 p.m. at Jackson State University East Center, 1230 Raymond Road. And I think somebody from Community Strong may be getting on. I don't know.
Well, you know what? It's a team effort, sir. If Community Strong is recognized, that means the community has been working hard. Which brings me to this note. Our channel is an offense channel. It's not a defense channel. With you being a coach, what's the difference between offense and defense? And I'm going to come in and tag on that.
Well, offense is when you're trying to make points. Simple as that. You're trying to make points. You're trying to make sure you get across your message. Make sure everything you're saying is about making sure it's progress to your goal. So you could have a lot of offense in the first and second quarter, and then third quarter may just be all defense. Then in the fourth quarter, you're going to have some offense, just like my Florida Gators did when they won the championship.
You was actually Florida didn't win. Was that Florida?
I think it was.
I'm still under the impression that Houston pulled it off.
Yeah, they almost pulled it off, but you know what? It was the offense of Houston. And there was a lack of defense from offense from the Gators that allowed them the national championship. That's how it is in life. You know, offense is when you're actually pouring out, you're giving, you're making sure that you're pushing others to be better than yourself. And so defense sometimes you block that. You want to block that.
Okay.
Our show is focused on offense. We're pushing forth, letting everybody know that their voice and choice has to be heard. And if their voice and choice has to be heard, guess what though? That's going to create other voices that need to be heard. Well,
and we're all about the loving, the compassion, going through trials and tribulations. There are other channels, and I'm giving a shout out to all the podcasters, all the streamers in the city of Jackson. If you want to see the conflict and if you want to see the confliction and the conflicts and putting people in a defensive position, there are other sources of channels for that. But in this particular space, I just think we need to have some love, some compassion, some lift. A man's trials and tribulations is something that he has to go through to either become a better man or a better woman or to go back through it again. Because one thing about the universe, if you don't listen, life will teach you.
It'll be a repeating cycle, and that repeating cycle will give you opportunity to see yourself. And a lot of times we don't get a chance to see ourselves through a positive lens. And so, like I said, there's a lot of negative things going on out there, podcasts, or just people just wanting to talk, gossip columns and things of that nature. But what we decided to create a platform will give people the opportunity to build on what we talk about community. Community means two words: communicate and unify. If we can communicate our people in the community with their differences, and we can unify them to walk into the direction that we all are winning. When we walk in the direction when we all are winning, that's all we're about.
That's all we're about. So and the reason we brought that up is in the comments section. If I'm eating at a table and I know the quality of your character, then there's a possibility that I can allow you to eat through me.
Right.
But if you're in the comments section and you're blasting off, you never know who's screenshotting these comments. So now that when we come to the table and they say, well, that person over there is eating too, well, that means you don't get to eat. So be very mindful of your comments. If it's not a comment about moving through trials and tribulations and the storm, then please restrain, get them to go to the bathroom and cuss the mirror out.
Yeah, that's right.
But please don't allow yourself to get emotionally carried away about how you feel about someone you haven't even had a conversation or a sit down with. Malcolm X said we need to take our differences in the very, very back.
Yes, behind closed doors.
And handle it back there so that when we come out in the community, then we're unified. So let's start doing something a little different. Insane thinking is doing the same thing over and over again. So when you see me tripping, then pull me off to the side and say, hey, brother, just breathe.
To the side.
Put aside. So anyway, let me get us plugged in. We're going to bring in our superhero, Judge YEMI Kings. It's a pleasure.
Judge?
The judge.
Oh, okay.
YEMI Kings.
Yes,
And we
sir.
just want to thank people because they're taking time out of their moments to come in and inform and educate and love on us. Let's stop personalizing someone else's trials and tribulations. And I guarantee your credit score in the universe. I'm about to challenge. If your credit score not 700, and that, there's a way to get to 700.
It is.
So if you're focusing on your credit score 700, I promise you ain't got time to talk about what somebody else got going on. So I love you guys. I want to inspire us, but I want you to get everything that you can get out of people sacrificing their time to come in and share with us. So this morning, our superhero, I got an education. You see the educational material? We want to know how we go into an environment. You didn't get that. You didn't get that superhero. You didn't get that part. Well, you already know that part. This is for those of us that's stumbling. So you ain't messing it up, are you? I'm gonna lead you.
Yes, I'm definitely messing it up.
Okay, we'll just keep it in order.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, I want you all to know how to go downtown, go into a court environment, and have a successful outcome, Coach.
So you talk about civic engagement, how to actually
we got to
go
know.
down and why is it? I mean, our young people, especially in high school, middle school, I wonder if they're getting taught that right in high school.
Probably, if they are, we're missing it.
But
it's very important. We should be getting that in the, third, fourth grade? Superhero, bring yourself in and let them know who you are.
All right. Again, I'm Judge YEMI Kings. I'm the Hinds County Court Judge, Sub-District 2, and I handle the civil docket.
Can you hear me, Brother Claude?
Court. And those are going to be the cases where you're suing for up to $200,000.
Can you hear me?
Who is
this? Is this? Hold on just a minute, superhero. My fault. Is this Brother Claude?
Yes, sir.
You got Mr. Hey on deck. You got Judge YEMI Kings in the building. I'm gonna let this other gentleman announce his own. I'm gonna let him bring himself to the microphone.
Coach Abasi. Coach Abasi.
Mr. Sanders.
Yes, sir.
Kenneth Stokes said he gonna come on.
Okay, sounds like a winner.
All right.
All right, and you have a great day, and we loving you over here, and thank you so much for being a superhero in my life.
All right, then. Y'all take care.
Okay, you as well, sir. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
All right.
I guess they're gonna be talking about that rally they had to do yesterday. I wouldn't have made them able to make it. That must have been a really good event. So
well, the beautiful thing about it is because of you all, we're about 3,000 strong, and we're making some networking opportunities prosper because you all decided to make us community strong for JacksonMS-NEXT1sUP. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into what we got, what is part of the show. Yes. And we want to thank you all so much for tuning in, for connecting. You see, I'm altering my words. We ain't tuning in, we connecting.
Well, it's a divine connection, and we're really excited because we have an opportunity to be at two places at one time. And Kenneth I. Stokes does a great job in the community. And usually we do the radio show, but today we're gonna do something a little different, and we're gonna actually ask all of our listeners to make sure that we can double our capacity by next month. That's what my goal is.
Okay.
If we having 3,000 tune in, we need to have at least about 6,000 tune in. The reason why it's so important is because the message, the stream of messages that we have through this media platform is not so much educating and informing people, but inspiring people to look at themselves. And when people get inspired to look at themselves and see how they progressively grow, that's how the seed of Jackson grows. So last time we had my brother here, he was just attorney. Now he's judge. I'm so excited because he's growing. He's growing us.
Hey, and the last time he was here, we were sitting at a table.
Yes, sir.
And in the big boy studio.
In the big boy studio.
Yes. And
you saying we're in the big boy studio now, sir? Yeah. All right. And because of you sharing your energy and your love and wanting to see people grow, Judge, thank you. Because people were witnessing what we were doing, and they said, hey, you know what? Let me give you a little bit more not a little bit more platform, but let me give you something else to play with. So we want to make sure that we acknowledge Visions with the Z, Unlimited Studios, and we just look forward to making this a productive conversation.
Yes, sir.
So just clear your mind. Let's breathe in, breathe out.
Oh, you're doing some
breathe in, breathe out. Yes. Breathe in and breathe out so that you can receive this valuable information that Judge YEMI Kings has had to earn since he was the last time you was here, Judge, you said that you used to walk around with a briefcase.
Look, in the 5th grade, I'll bring a briefcase.
So he's been on this journey since he was in the 5th grade. And if I may ask, within a couple of years, sir, how old are you now?
I'm 41.
So he been walking around with a briefcase.
Look, not every day now, but I
No,
did
but you had it.
I did, yeah.
The briefcase was looking at him looking at the briefcase, looking at him, looking at
both ways.
So, for someone to come in and be able to share in an hour or so a philosophy and a foundation that he has had to go through trials and tribulations, we are really honored, and we just want to make sure that you guys get it. So, Coach, I guess we'll start out with the prayer, and let me make sure I got the cameras lined up. Man, I'm just so excited. Let me acknowledge this. Yesterday they had We are the key to the solutions for our community concerns.
Okay.
They had a Stop the Violence rally. They were at the corner of Alabama Street and Capitol Street.
Okay.
They had an open mic to express the community concerns.
Beautiful. And
it was through our Councilman Kenneth Stokes and several other of our boots on the ground organizations, as well as our city leadership. So we just want to thank them for being out. Make sure that you're following Community Strong for JacksonMS-NEXT1sUP to be connected to community now. So I'm gonna get my little camera here, and Judge, before we get started, let them know again who you are and what it is that you're doing before you give us our prayer this morning.
Okay, I'm praying too. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you was gonna get that this morning. Go right ahead. You did so well the last time that we got to have some more this time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm the Hinds County Court Judge for Sub-District 2, and I handle the civil docket. Those are the cases where you're suing or being sued for up to $200,000. Example, the kind of cases that we handle going to be your car accidents, personal injury cases. We do a lot of evictions, consumer debt cases where folks might have got behind on credit card payments or car notes, things like that. That's the jurisdiction of the court generally.
Okay. And that's also because I had to venture into that particular space. That's credit card. When he says credit card debts, those are those credit cards that we've had. And I think my case went back, Judge, like maybe about 10 or 15 years. And they actually filed what did they file on me when they had me to come to court and stand before the judge?
Was it a garnishment?
No, they didn't do the garnishment. They wanted the whole buck. They wanted the whole dollar value. So was I hit with a subpoena at my door by the deputy sheriff?
Yeah, summons.
Okay.
Yes.
I received a summons by they don't send the little guys out there.
This is big guys in the
Yeah, they don't send little guys out to pass out no summons. But anyway, and I think Judge Cooper Stokes was in that position at that point.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you, it can be a scary feeling because I think my value was only for $1,500. But that's $1,500 that I wasn't expecting to have to give up.
Right.
Even though I had misused the credit that had been extended to me. So don't think because you're not paying the bill, you refuse to understand the obligation for the bill that it's going to go away.
Yeah, at some point the rubber will hit the road. But let me say this about the summons.
Okay.
If you ever get a summons to appear in any court, but county court or any court, make sure you show up. Because sometimes there's things the judge can do to assist you, give you some more time, that you get on the payment plan if you come there and ask for it. But if you don't show up and you get a default judgment, all the judge can do is just find against you. That's it.
Okay, so
show up.
If you get the summons, if you receive, now you're going to get the summons. It's going to either be in your hand. Judge, should they leave a summons like, I don't know if mine was in the door or was it given to me in my hand?
Sometimes they put it in the door. A lot of times, mostly if they're suing you in county court, they're going to want to serve you. But let's say you're getting sued in justice court, they're probably just posted on the door.
Okay, and that saying that I didn't get it doesn't work when I finally show up, does it?
Well, usually somebody's gonna file something saying that either they serve you or somebody at the home,
And let me tell you, everybody got. I didn't get that. It's 3 years later. I didn't get that, but the interest in it.
There? It was wrong.
Judge,
it was wrong house.
Coach Bosley, it wasn't me that you gave it to. All right.
It was my twin.
Right. So don't think that paperwork isn't your paperwork because you done read it, and then you going in with the notion that I'm just gonna tell him I didn't get it. No, it don't work like that. I'm telling you. Yeah. So get out of your insane thinking and make sure that you get back to your sane thinking. And that goes back, Coach Bosley, to talking about everybody else's business.
Yes.
And your credit score 9700.
Sweep around my own front door before you try to sweep around mine.
Yeah. Look, one thing this job showed me is how close we all are to being behind on the payment, a car note, a house note. That Hinds kind of not paid me one time. I'll be in the same boat.
Yeah.
So we're not laughing. We just want to make sure the judge is giving you an open invitation. And when you get that summons that you say you did not receive, please go down and meet your judge. And judge, now when they come in the courtroom, we going back to the prayer. When they come in the courtroom, what kind of disposition? Do they need to come in smelling like they just come out of a party? coming in with a demeanor and the mean mugging, how should we come to the courtroom?
So courtroom etiquette in general. You know, when I was practicing, I would tell my clients, come like you come into church.
Mm-hmm.
That means one thing to me, but some folks
Okay.
come
Paint
to
a
church
picture of
however.
coming to church.
But I say put on a nice shirt or a
Okay.
polo, a tie, slacks, a belt,
Okay.
not sagging, you know, some nice casual shoes. Got a suit, throw on a suit. So
Okay.
you just want to come in looking presentable because usually you're coming in court and you're wanting either a judge or a jury. You wanting somebody or some people to do something for you. And sometimes they may look at you and they got to judge your character, whether they're going to believe you or not.
We
Yeah.
call it the eye test.
Yeah, the eye test.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, you
Yes.
just got to come in presentable.
Okay.
Definitely don't come in. I've seen folks come in smelling like weed.
Okay.
I've seen folks come
Loud.
Yeah,
Smelling,
yeah.
Coach, smelling loud.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen folks come to court for DUIs, drunk.
Oh, man.
I mean, just all kinds of stuff. Just come in presentable.
Okay. All right. Because you have enough days in advance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Prepare for that.
Okay.
Yes, make sure we get this prayer in because I'm excited for it because I'm ready for this. Get this thing on.
All right. Bow our head. Lord, we thank you for this day, for this opportunity to come together and share, learn about our community, figure out ways to help our community. So we pray that everything we do is going to be guided by you. In
Yes.
your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Oh, that's
amen.
straight to the point. You're going to hit the
I love
gavel.
I love it.
Coach, we're going to go and get started. You know, that's the beauty of being in an offense position, Coach.
Yeah, when you're in the offensive mode, you're in a mode of giving and letting out and sharing. And that's what it gets your opportunity to allow that inner self to speak out.
Okay. And Judge, I want to thank you for not bringing that black robe in here because I don't know if I still got any paperwork on me. But I want to, you know, one thing we can say, Coach Abbas, is when people do participate or share their time with us, they come comfortable. They come casual. They just come, you know, because you see us in the community, and we just want you guys to continue to embrace it so we can continue to encourage you to stay connected. Coach, I'm going to let you, since this is one of your personal people in your life, I'm going to let you go ahead and read the page with the bio, little bio. Do you see it? It's the smallest writing on there. Yes, sir. Do you want to read the entire thing, or you want to share some?
I really want it all. I really want it all to myself. I might share some.
Okay, so I need to pay attention.
Just pay attention to make sure you follow
let's roll.
along.
Let's roll there.
Judge Yummy L. King is a lifelong resident of Jackson, Mississippi. He was born and raised in the Georgetown neighborhood of Jackson, Mississippi. He is a founder of Kings and Associates LLC and is a dedicated member of the community. He is a proud graduate of the Lanier High School 833 in Jackson, Mississippi, where he received a Bachelor's of Art degree from Tougaloo College and Juris Doctorate degree from Thurgood Marshall School of Law in 2009, where he was a Dean's List Scholar and American Jurisprudence Award recipient. He is a former assistant Hinds County Public Defender. During his tenure as a public defender, he handled over 400 felony cases. He is also a licensed real estate broker and property manager. He currently serves as a deputy. He serves as a deputy Hinds County prosecutor of Jackson, Mississippi, where he works tirelessly to protect the public from violent and dangerous offenders by helping to ensure that they are held accountable in a court of law. He is also a candidate, and he's actually not the candidate now, but he's actually a judge. And his candidacy was in 2018. He's the first judicial district includes the cities of Jackson, the state's capital, Terry, Byram, Clinton, Pocahontas, Mississippi. The second jurisdiction district includes Edwards, Bolton, Edward, Pocahontas, Raymond, and Raymond, Mississippi. This is our judge, Judge YEMI King.
You know what? I didn't get any. But
No,
Judge,
hold on a second. I'm going to give you the second page. The second page talk about Hinds County, Mississippi, and several lower levels of courts. And
stop. I got it, Coach. I got it. Tag me in,
I'm going to give you a little something.
Coach in the ring and won't tag me in. Let me get some of that while we winning.
Okay.
Judge, why was it so important for you to start your business or start your journey in your community?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, that was always the plan. I'm all about community. So when I finished law school, I didn't apply for any jobs anywhere. I always planned on coming back to Georgetown and opening up my office, helping my community. That's just what I've been. That's what I've been about.
And you're located right there in the center
Yep,
of the community.
Yeah, on Martin Luther King Drive.
Okay, and how long have you been there?
Off and on, 15 years because I did a stint as public defender for about 4 or 5 years, and I came back to the law office. But off and on, I was there 15 years.
Okay, you've also attended Eaglettes, Tougaloo College.
Oh yeah.
What is the Juris Doctor degree from Thurgood Marshall School of Law? What does that entail?
That's just a law degree. That's what's called a doctorate of jurisprudence. It's a law degree.
And how much and how many trials and tribulations did you have to experience to become a Dean's List scholar?
Yes.
An American Jurisprudence Award recipient?
I don't even want to think about it. So let me tell you, look, law school. This is law school in a nutshell.
Okay.
All right, go home tonight, read 300 pages.
Wow.
Go home tomorrow, read 200 pages. Go home tomorrow, read 150 pages. And you don't know what you're going to get questioned about. That's law school in a nutshell.
Are those different instructors at the same class?
Different instructors.
Wow.
I have 50 this class, 100 this class. It varies, but just a bunch of reading.
Okay. And why was it so important to participate as a assistant Hinds County public defender? What did that? I know it can't be too many chips on that as far as the pay on that.
Yeah, public defenders not get paid enough. I mean, it's a heavy caseload, and you helping folks that did not have the money to hire an attorney to represent them on their felony cases. You know, so by law, our Supreme Court has said that everybody's entitled to an attorney in felony cases. So, you know, public defenders would get a bad rap, like, oh, you work for the state, you sorry. I've had clients tell me, if you were any kind of lawyer, you wouldn't be a public defender.
Yeah.
I mean,
And they need you.
It was a
Yeah.
But, you know, my thing was I'm going to work hard, and I don't want there to be any difference between public defender and the paid attorneys.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you came across the board and you became a county prosecutor. How does that?
Yes.
How does that work?
Yeah. So as a public defender, I handled a case where represented a young man. He was charged with maybe, I think, auto theft. And we talked, and he had some violent tendencies. He was in the stuff.
Right.
Now, my job as the public defender, as his attorney, was to make sure he got out on bond.
Okay.
I did my job, and he got out on bond. I remember thinking, is the county any safer with him being out on bond?
Coach, so
this is good.
It is. So you're actually dealing with character, but you have a professional obligation.
Yes.
Right.
Go ahead.
So, you know, I'm going to do my job, but in my heart I said, man, is the county safer by me doing my job?
Right.
And it bothered me. I'm going to do my job, but I looked on the news one day and I saw he had killed somebody. I said, okay, I think I want to go to the other side.
Wow.
Okay.
Be a prosecutor.
Okay.
Handle things from that side.
Okay, go ahead, Coach.
Well, I think it just brings it back to the understanding that neighborhood, Georgetown, sometimes when people, they don't know Jackson, they think of Georgetown as a very violent neighborhood, right? And it's really not even that way. It's probably one of the most safest places in Jackson. I've lived in Georgetown for a long time, got businesses in Georgetown, and I know that there's a very good area. However, when the elements of crime comes in the neighborhood, those people that defend those particular people who are violated, they tend to seem like they want to make sure that they want to, make sure the neighborhoods are safe. So that when you said that element going back or someone going in those areas, you know, you got to be very compassionate, have a passionate heart to do that, because that is real, you know, and that made you make a transition from what you was doing to the next phase of your career. So, and when you made that phase, did it really impact on your mind? Well, it's going to be, it makes something that be a violation to the county, but just all those people in those areas and those neighborhoods that's been there for a long time, the safety of them, those residents.
You know, so as a prosecutor, you work
Obligation.
for the county, represent the state as a whole.
Those people in those areas and those neighborhoods.
Public safety was a big concern, you know, of mine. But then also being able to make those recommendations when I saw cases where this person, I don't think they're guilty. I dismissed more cases as a prosecutor than I was able to get dismissed as a public defender. So on the other side, you got folks where you know you can't meet your burden, because the burden of proof is beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not, I think you probably did it. I more than likely did it. If I know I don't meet my burden of beyond a reasonable doubt or probable cause, I'm going to admit that at that point, and I'm not going to let that case move forward.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So how long were you in the public? How long were you on the? In this? We talking about defense and offense?
Yes.
That's gonna be. which position is the defensive position?
Okay. So the public defender is
Okay.
I would consider the defense position.
Okay.
The prosecutor would be the offense position.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the unique thing about my career, for a period of time, I did both at the same time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So I was a county prosecutor
Wow.
for 8 years
Yes,
in
sir.
Hinds County.
Okay.
But I was also a public defender in Warren County.
Wow.
And I still did criminal cases all around the state outside of Hinds County. So I just look at things from both sides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's coach. That's balance. You can play defense. Most guys only want to shoot the rock.
Well, we like those kind of players.
We
They
do.
can go both sides.
What
you know?
Dennis Rodman say, man? Don't think I can't score now because I'm down here banging and rebounding and agitating folks.
Just like current day Travis, was it Travis Hunter?
Travis Hunter.
Yes, he had
Both
to play
sides of the
both
ball.
sides of the ball, and that's what's important. And because when you do that, you have an empathetic lens on. You can see people see it from different views.
Okay.
You know.
Let's talk about the 2nd Judicial District. Is that your district?
Well, I handle cases from all over the county, the 1st and the 2nd.
Okay.
District. So the 2nd Judicial District are pretty much all the municipalities, most of them outside of Jackson.
Okay.
Raymond, Edwards, Learned, Byram.
Okay. So let me reemphasize now. That's Terry, the bigger communities, and then they have smaller communities. So I've learned it is probably the population is what, a couple of thousand, 1,000?
Maybe.
Okay. Okay. Terry, Byram, Clinton, Pocahontas.
Edwards, Bolton, everywhere outside of Jackson.
Okay, all right. So the Judge Kings is not only is managing what's going on in Jackson, as though that's not enough. He's also managing throughout. He's working throughout the county. All right. Okay. All right. Hinds County Chancery Court Building, and if I got any information wrong, Coach Kings, please coach me up correctly. Hinds County Chancery Court Building, 316 South President Street, Jackson, Mississippi. Is that where your cases are being? Your cases are being?
No, it's not. Chancery Court. That's going to be the family law cases, divorces, custody, wills cases, land dispute cases. That's Chancery Court. The chancellors, the judges over there are called chancellors.
Okay.
But I'm across the street at the courthouse at 407.
Okay, where exactly is that Hinds County Chancery Court building?
Right next door to the county court. Chancery Court is where you get your tag.
Okay.
And then right next door to the right, the big gray building, that's the county court.
That's where you are?
Yeah.
So they having court in that place where I'm getting my tag?
Oh, yeah, upstairs.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, on the
I've
third
never
floor.
had to go in there before. So that's a blessing. Okay. All right. So we're going to be going to the big building that they're doing the reconstruction on? Okay. And how will they know that they're coming there? Is that something who allows the person that's coming to court to know where they're going? How do we know where we're going?
So, every courthouse generally is going to have a bailiff, deputy at the front door to direct you on where you need to go. Because people go to the wrong courthouse all the time. You go to their front door and ask their staff person, whose court you're trying to find, they'll direct you to.
Okay. Okay. Some experiences that Judge Kings has: county court judge, which is now, is that right? County court judge, licensed real estate broker. Are you still doing the real estate?
Yes.
Okay. What, residential, commercial?
Yeah, I do both. Represent buyers and sellers.
Okay. Okay. Why was that so important to go over and get that licensed real estate broker paperwork?
All right.
That trials and tribulations.
So my mom is a realtor.
Okay.
And, she told me, she said, if you have a law degree, you can become a realtor without having to take the course.
Wow.
That your law school coursework would count.
Mm-hmm.
So I went ahead and did that.
Okay.
And, but they since changed the law, so I got in, before they did that.
Okay. Listening goes a long ways, doesn't it? Coach,
Yes.
tell me about listening. What does listening do for us?
Listening gives us opportunity to sit back and reflect.
Okay.
See, when you listen, you have to reflect, and not so much what other people say, but what you actually think in your thoughts in your back of your mind. Because in order to be able to listen effectively, you have to quiet those thoughts in your mind so you can be able to receive. And that's why it's so important to reflect on what another person has said. So you have to listen to what the other person said first before you give your input. And lots of times we don't do that.
No, we've already responded. Yeah.
We hear before we listen. That's why it's important for us to now use this as a listening session. When we go back and you look at this over and over, I've been actually listening to a lot of the broadcasts we had in the past. And when I listen to broadcasts in the past, it's a different message. So when you listen with a reflective mindset, you're going to get a different message out of what what you was anticipating on hearing, because now you all that information in your mind that was in the past is just blocked out.
Okay.
That's what we have these critical conversations. It's very important for us to make sure that we ask questions where people can give us input based on what's happening now, not what happened 10 to 5 years ago.
And
So-
look, and my job is listen.
Okay.
That's what it does. My job is to listen. I'm not up there talking.
Mhm.
I might say a few words, but I'm listening to this controversy, trying to get an understanding of everybody's point of view. Then I just make a decision at the end. But I got to listen.
Gotta
Okay.
listen.
Judge,
Yeah.
do you find that when you're speaking that people still, because everyone gets a chance to share.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that once they share, they don't want to listen to what's going on next, or they remember something that they didn't think of, or how does that work out with the listening as far as the person is receiving? After you finish listening, then you got to speak. What happens on the other side of that ping pong table?
So you mean in the courtroom?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
when they have to respond back.
So in the courtroom, I had that bailiff stand up there, so they'll listen. But a lot of times, when folks are in court, it's emotions involved,
Yes.
and then folks want to be heard, and everybody walks in the courtroom knowing either I'll win or I lose. So when I make a decision, generally somebody's not gonna like it.
Right.
We've closed out 1,200 cases this year already.
Wait. Since January?
Yes,
January.
Wow.
closed out 1,200.
Okay.
And so just imagine that's
1,200.
probably 1,200 people on one side or a couple thousand on one side
Yes,
that don't
sir.
like the ruling.
Right.
But generally, folks can be heard. They can get it off their chest. They can accept what's going to happen as long as they feel like they got a fair shot.
Okay, and that's by allowing them to have an opportunity to speak.
I let them speak. Some folks say we let them talk so much. Like this is their day.
Ooh wee.
Not my day. It's their day. So
Ooh-wee.
what you need to say, get it off your chest.
Okay.
Want me to consider it if it's not something that's disrespectful or just totally irrelevant.
Right.
But let them speak.
Do I know before I show up for court who the judge is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when you're listening today, be sure, because this is a coaching session.
Yes, it is.
We're getting a template today so that when we go to court, first of all, we have to acknowledge that we have to go to court.
Yes, it's the
Judge
first
King has
step.
already said, look,
You got to go.
you did get that paperwork.
Don't
If that paperwork,
don't deflect.
right. If that paperwork
to
is on
court.
my docket, that
Yes.
paperwork has been delivered.
Right.
Okay, so breathe. It's not the end of the world.
Mm-mm.
Take accountability and responsibility for the paperwork being. I call it an educational opportunity to network, coach.
It is.
Yeah,
And,
and
don't, and don't come in there blaming other people for things that you did wrong. You got to be
Right.
responsible for your own actions, and blaming and shaming other people is not going to be the case, and not going to get your case handled in the way, in the fashion that you would like to be. So it's very important to listen. Very
Right.
important.
Can I say one thing
Man,
about
this
county court?
you teaching, coach us up. All right.
All
Coach
right,
King.
So I talked about the jurisdiction of the county court civil docket
Okay.
up to $200,000 amount in controversy. So justice court's jurisdiction is 0 to 3,500. So if you got a lawsuit from anywhere between 0 and 3,500, that can be filed in either justice court or county court.
Okay.
So it's concurrent jurisdiction there. All right. A lot of folks go to justice court, what's called pro se. They represent themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Most folks that come to justice court are going to be pro se.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of folks feel like they can't come to county court pro se. I always tell folks, county court, it's a people's court too. You can come in county court without a lawyer, unless if it's a business, the business needs to have an attorney. But as far as you representing yourself, you come to county court, you're going to be heard. You're going to be treated the same way as somebody that has a lawyer.
Okay.
So, the court is wide open. I encourage folks, if you got a controversy, get it in court. Because when people don't do that, when they don't handle it in court, where do they handle it?
In the
Out on
streets.
And
Streets.
nothing good comes
In their
from that.
minds, in the
So
streets.
Mhm.
I don't mind having a crowd. I like having a crowd of docket and folks filing lawsuits every day. We can resolve it the right way.
Okay.
That's important, because you talk about conflict resolution, and it's actually before you have a conflict in the streets, you can go to court and you can get heard. That's very important.
I mean, I got cases in where, let's say folks are suing because they paid somebody to do some body work on the car.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
they didn't fix it. I've had criminal cases where folks got killed over that.
Wow.
I'd much rather see you in court, fighting it out in court.
Okay. So so in order for me to feel like I'm in a position to have a successful outcome, whatever work someone's providing a service, you need to have a receipt for it.
Document everything.
Document.
Document everything. I would always tell folks, if you can, write up a contract or an agreement, but document everything. And when you come to court, bring all the records you have.
Right.
Don't try to decide what you think might be relevant. Bring everything.
Right. So don't be in a haste to get something done and you don't get the documentation. A serious flag, coach, I believe, is if you ask for documentation and they're not willing to give it or they bumble through it, that might not be the place you need to have your vehicle.
Right.
Can you shine some light in on that, Judge?
Well, just personally, just as a person, I'm kind of skeptical of doing business without any kind of paperwork. I'm skeptical of spending a lot of money beforehand, before the service is provided. Somebody's telling me, hey, I'm going to fix your car for $2,000. I want you to pay me now, and I'll fix it later. I'm probably just going to go somewhere else.
Okay.
Then I got to spend a little bit more because I can have a little more comfort.
Okay. All right. He's also, his experiences consist of being an attorney. Are you still an attorney that's available for us, the community? How does that work?
I am not. So I've had 6 months from my swearing in date to clear out the cases that I had on my docket.
Yes, sir.
In my office. So I'm closing out my cases, but I can't take on anything.
Okay. Okay. Are you able to refer if people call you and say, hey, are you taking cases, or how does that work?
I just tell them, that the firm is closed. And some of my cases, other attorneys have taken on some of those cases. I won't be able to get closed out in 6 months.
Okay.
But I just let them know that I can't practice law.
Okay. You have the experience of a public defender, an attorney. So when you go into Judge King's court, and I'm talking about the basketball court because I know words sometimes kind of intimidate us. The man been on both sides. He been throughout the whole game now. So he's not just on one end of it. He's been through the whole gauntlet. Coach, you want to discuss some of the skills?
It's a lot of skills here, man.
Oh, look at him. He love holding that microphone. Go ahead.
In order to be an offensive and defense person, you got to know about contract negotiation. It's very important. I know we talk about real estate, estate planning. I know that's a very important skill. In personal injury law, we know that criminal defense, litigation, white-collar criminal defense, prosecution, family law, automobile accidents, DUI law, divorce law. The one I want to talk about right now is estate planning. I know that's something that's big that you've done in the past in your practice, but could you just give us a little bit of your history of how you was able to help families to make sure that they had estate planning, especially when people die and they don't have nobody
and before you go there, Judge, is there an age that you need to start thinking about the estate planning and some of the downside of people not having estate planning in place? Coach, you did, all right, Coach. Hey man,
that was a good.
Sir, I'm piggybacking off of you, sir. Just throw me the yoke.
And I'm veggie backing off of you too.
Okay, all right, go right ahead, Judge.
I think it's as soon as you become an adult,
okay,
you're having a will. The main issue I saw with estate planning, I saw so many families, so many siblings fall apart because somebody passed and they didn't have a will. They're having a will. Everybody's fighting over who's gonna get what. Somebody saying, well, mom told me that I could have this. I think I should have it. There's no will. Then families fall apart. Brothers and sisters are just going at it. And a lot of that can be resolved if you have a will, lay out who's going to get what. There's nothing to fight about at that point. As a public defender, I had a tragic case where one brother killed the other brother. The father passed, had a rental property. And they were fighting over who was going to control the rental property. They were both over there, I guess, trying to do some work on the house. And they wanted to argue about who was going to rent it out, and one brother killed the other brother.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And so that's a tragic thing. And something over in our community is a lot going on with that. So I know you was doing a training on that once, and you was talking about the expense of a will is not that much.
Yeah, maybe $200.
Yeah. So that's $10 a week. Okay.
And it'll save a lot of confusion.
It will.
And when you say an adult, because we all think we grown because we smelling ourselves. So when does adulthood start?
So that's crazy. So we talked about chancery court.
Yes, sir.
And we talked about a criminal court. So in chancery court, 21. You have a child, you got to pay child support until that child turns 21.
Okay.
Go over to criminal court. You turn 18, you grown. Turn 18, you get a charge. You in adult court.
Wow.
Okay.
So I just always thought that was weird, depending on where you go. 18, you an adult, or 21, you an adult. But I say by the time you turn 21, if you start acquiring things, property, in the will.
And you always can update it, right?
Yeah, you can always update. Now, if you don't have anything you want to leave to anybody, then of course you don't need one. But whenever you got something you want to look at leaving to somebody, go ahead and get a will.
Okay. All right. What is this white collar criminal defense? What's a white collar crime?
That could be just different kind of fraud cases, bank fraud, wire fraud, things
Okay.
like that.
Okay. We know about the DUI, the divorce law, automobile accidents, estate planning, personal injury law. That's a popular one. We see those commercials all early morning. Yes,
Everybody wants those cases.
I got you.
You know, the car accidents, the personal injury, slip and falls, product liability.
Okay. Contract negotiation. What kind of contracts are we speaking of?
It could be anything. I mean, it could be folks looking to do a joint venture,
Okay.
starting a business, just all kind of things. Any kind of business transaction. I mean, you'll be doing yourself a favor to have a contract in place.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. We're practicing our listening skills. Go ahead, Coach.
But they're not that expensive as well, right? It depends.
It just depends. It depends, you know, on how many pages, what it is, what you're trying to do, how complicated it is. But I mean, again, that can be something that can be as low as a couple $100.
Okay. Okay. So it's a small investment. But what costs you is when you have to show up for court and you didn't know.
You don't have no contract or anything.
Ignorance of the law is what?
Don't matter.
Don't matter.
No defense.
No defense. Accomplishment. This is just a couple that I found. Attorney, Mississippi Bar Association. How important is it for an attorney to be in the Mississippi Bar Association?
Yeah, so the Bar Association, that's pretty much just the group that over licensing for attorneys in the state. So you pass the bar exam, you're a member of the Bar Association. So every state has their own state bar.
Okay, so just because I graduated in law doesn't mean that I'm an attorney.
So you got to pass that bar exam.
Okay, all right. Real estate broker, Mississippi Real Estate Commission, courses. I see. Are there any other certifications? Are we good with those two? That we
probably some of them.
Okay. Courses, SPDTC, extensive criminal defense. It's extensive by those acronyms.
Oh yeah, that was the used to be called the Southern Southern Public Defender Training Center, but now it's called Gideon's Promise. They changed the name to Gideon's Promise now.
Okay.
But pretty much it was a 2-week program. We went to Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
And they trained us in every aspect of criminal defense from beginning to end. I mean, it was extensive.
Okay. How many months? Was it a year, some months?
Well, so first class was 2 weeks. Then we would just go on a refresher every year.
Okay.
But you know, when I left the PD's office, I stopped going.
Public
Actually,
defenders.
Once I became a prosecutor, they said you can't come back. You're a prosecutor.
Yeah, that's right.
it.
Can an attorney have the option of flipping back over if he wants to?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And correct me if this is incorrect. To contact the court administrator, is that still Carolyn Brown?
Yes.
Okay, she's at the Hinds County Court Administrator, County Court Judges. What is a court administrator?
Yes.
Yeah. So the court administrator, they are the engine behind the courtroom.
Okay.
I mean, they get everything done. I remember when I first started practicing law, this attorney told me, don't piss the court administrator off.
Wow. I thought it was going to piss the judge off. Okay, don't.
You don't piss the judge off either, but the court administrator, I mean, they kind of get you in the door. They set the dockets. You call, you need a court date.
Okay.
You want to get a matter set before the court. You can't call and talk to the judge at all.
Okay.
You got to talk to the court administrator to get that done.
So that's who gets the box of chocolates.
Oh, yeah.
Is that person positioned in the courtroom at the time of the hearing? Or is that person in another office?
Right.
Usually she comes in the courtroom.
Okay.
She doesn't always have to be in there.
Yes,
but,
sir.
She does come in.
Okay, so she like the dean. She watching what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the boss. That's
the
real
boss lady, and her contact. This is Miss Carolyn Brown. She's the Hinds County Court Administrator. 601-968-6648. I'm not going to give out an email because I strongly encourage that you always go and make personal contact and build a relationship. We talk about community nurturing and building relationships.
That's right.
The other court administrator is going to be, correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Linda Arman. She is a county court. She works also with the county court judges. Okay. Her telephone number is 601-968-6647. Do you know what time that office actually opens and closes? Just a range?
9 to 5.
Okay, 9 to 5. 9 to 5. If you wait till the middle of the day,
over with.
You get the middle of the day results.
That's right.
So I strongly encourage you, if you got any business, you want to be at the front of the line and not at the back of the line. All right. There's some other, these, I'm going to run through these, and if you can just spot, you didn't get that page.
No.
Judge, you didn't get that page.
Okay.
No, you can just put yours down. Yeah, you get the flyer, but you don't get this page. All right, I noticed that you got, and this is all on a website. So if you Google Hinds County Court, I believe it will take you to some of this information. I wanted to give you all, but I didn't get that. I saw a listing for a civil calendar. What is a civil calendar?
So we got pretty much our trial calendar.
Okay.
Where matters are set for trial. We put it on the county website. Then we also have a motion calendar. Those could just be various issues that come up that have to be resolved before we actually get to trial.
Okay.
It
Okay.
could be matters about arguing about evidence, whether certain matters can come in or whether certain things can be talked about at trial. Just a whole number of things. Discovery. So in a lawsuit, there's a early phase called discovery, where pretty much you're exchanging evidence with the other side.
Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes they dispute about that, and we got to have motions. So generally, what we're gonna have is a motion docket. We had it all the time. Then we have a trial docket.
I'm gonna tell you, those pages that I printed out, Coach, and we'll play with this a little bit.
Okay.
Your silver calendar is full, and your motion calendar is even fuller. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna call anything out, but what I see is, because this is posted on the web on the Google search that I did. All right, for example, you have the case number, the type, jury. Okay, I see a jury trial, and I see a bench trial. What is the difference in the two?
So a bench trial is going to be where I'll be the person. The judge would make the determination about what the recovery is going to be, how much money you're going to get, or whatever the outcome is going to be.
Okay.
I'll make that decision from the bench. Jury trial, you're going to have those jurors over there. They're going to decide. Some folks want to put it in the hands of a jury. Some folks say, I want the judge to decide.
Okay.
It's up to the plaintiff.
Is it like TV? Is 12 of them over there sitting in the box?
Pretty much.
Okay. So is that jury selection that we receive in the mail? Is your time for jury duty?
Jury duty, yeah.
Paint a picture of that for us.
Jury selection is a long process. So at the onset, you have what's called jury qualification. That's when you go to the big courtroom. It's going to be a few hundred people.
I've been in there.
The judge is going to ask some preliminary questions to see if they can excuse you, like if you're over 65.
Okay.
You served on the jury the last couple of years. Go ahead and be excused.
Okay.
All right. Then after that, after everybody's qualified, make sure nobody's a convicted felon. Make sure you live in Hinds County, because some folks have moved and they still get mail in Hinds. They have moved to another county, so
yes,
we
sir.
excuse them. All right.
Okay.
So then split up the jurors and send them to the different courtrooms of the judges that are going to have a trial.
Okay.
So then once you get in there, that's the jury selection process, where the lawyers on both sides, they ask the questions to see if you have any bias, jury.
Okay.
That's the short of the process.
Okay. So, Coach, I didn't know that when they selected 1,000 of us to come in.
Yes, use a pool.
Okay, and make sure you know where the parking is, and make sure you understand the parking meter system, and hopefully, as we get this new mayor, hopefully we can have a parking garage downtown somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. They're selecting for different. What other courtrooms are they positioning us as potential jurors?
So you got the circuit courts, which is going to be Judge Winston, Judge Adrian, Deborah Gibbs, Judge Faye Peterson.
Okay.
So if you could be in one of those courtrooms.
Is that the big boy stuff? Is that the felonies? I mean,
it could be felonies. They can handle civil cases. My jurisdiction stops at 200.
Okay.
200,000.
Okay.
Go to circuit court, you can sue for millions over there.
Wow. Okay.
Or it could be in my courtroom.
Okay. The murders and things of that nature and the violent crimes go where?
All right, so let's talk about that process.
Okay.
So county court and circuit court, we handle those criminal cases in different levels of the process. So at the beginning stage, you come through county court for your initial appearance.
Okay.
Where we tell you what you're charged with.
Mm.
You copy of the affidavit, decide we're going to set a bond. Then also you come back to county court for your preliminary hearing.
Okay.
And that's where the officer will come in and say, hey, this is the evidence I have. The county court judge will say, either I think you got enough evidence to send it over to the grand jury, the DA's office.
That's the grand jury.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if it's not enough evidence, we dismiss it right there. But once we finish that stage, we send it over to the circuit court.
Okay.
So when it gets to trial and guilty pleas and all of that, that's all in circuit court.
Okay. So even those participants in criminal activities are accused of allegedly criminal activities. When we see them on TV and they're being escorted in through the garage, Coach, I've taken that journey before. Wasn't nothing major though, but I went through. They're still coming through county before they come to you all.
Well, We're county. I'm county.
Okay.
So they come through county on the front end. Do you want to have a preliminary hearing?
Yes,
That's gonna
sir.
be in county court.
Okay.
And after they leave county court, it goes to circuit court.
Okay. And what is a preliminary hearing?
That's just okay. So we're in court. It's going to be the defendant, their attorney, prosecutor.
Okay.
Prosecutor is going to call witnesses, the investigating officer. Let's say it's an auto burglary case. He gets on the stand. I investigated the case. I looked at surveillance video, saw somebody matching defendant's description on video. They stole a laptop, pulled your client, the defendant over. He had the laptop in his possession.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I hear the evidence. Okay, probable cause. I'm gonna send it over to the grand jury.
Okay.
That's a preliminary hearing. Just
Gotcha.
an
That's
early
an
process, early snapshot where we can see is there enough evidence to go forward or not.
Okay.
And if it's not enough evidence, it can get dismissed right then.
Wow. Okay, Coach. Anything you want to chime in on that?
No,
Ash? You good?
I'm just.
Are we
I can't even say nothing, man, because this process is very important.
right?
Because majority of people don't get a chance to understand how the process works.
Right. Right.
And a
So I'm
preliminary
listening
hearing,
to it.
it's not automatic. You got to request one. Most
Wait.
times,
Who has the request one?
The attorney. The defense
Okay.
attorney.
So that
Okay.
means that whoever's in that position of being charged needs to make sure that that whoever is representing them knows that they want the preliminary hearing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So in generally, if the person gets out on bond, they don't ask for a preliminary. If they're in jail, a lot of times, go ahead and ask for that.
Explain the process on that bond. A lot of I tend to think that people think because they're out on bond
They
that the
innocent.
crime is just poof.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the purpose of bond is just to secure your appearance at all the future court dates.
Mm.
Bond is not meant to punish anybody
Okay.
because on the front end, you're just charged,
Okay.
innocent until proven guilty. So we're not setting bond as if I know you're guilty,
Mm-hmm.
but we do consider other factors like community safety,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
criminal history, and there's a provision in our state constitution that says when you're out on bond for a felony,
Okay.
and you get charged with another crime that carries over 5 years,
Okay.
you are denied bond. That's Article 3, Section 29, denied bond.
You deny bond. So
Okay.
like a person get pulled over in the car, they have a DUI, and they're on bond, and that's going to be real tough for them.
Well, that DUI is more than likely, if it's a felony DUI, third offense,
Yeah.
that doesn't carry over 5 years. They carry as a year,
1 year.
1 year.
Okay.
So that wouldn't qualify, but it would have to carry over 5 years, that new crime, for that person to be denied bond. And also, the judge can consider whether I think you're a danger to the community.
Right.
So if
Mhm.
you went out in Walmart's parking lot and had a shootout and you shot up all kind of innocent people's cars and shot
Right.
innocent people,
Right.
that might be a dangerous person. We got to consider that.
Mhm.
Okay. How does share with us the other side of this? With the people that are signing their names to the bond. How does that work for them?
So,
Am I okay with asking these?
I'm just speaking in general.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
I
Okay.
can't-
Okay.
I'm not talking about how I would rule on any particular
Yes, sir.
matter, but the bond system. Let's say your bond is $100,000.
Okay.
Generally, you got to pay 10% to that bondsman.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's 10,000.
Okay.
Let's say your case gets dismissed the next day, you don't get that money back.
What?
Bondsman gets all their money back, everything else.
Okay.
So a lot of folks that can afford it, they post a cash bond because they get all of that back at the end.
Okay. So what's it? So okay,
Oh.
what's a cash bond versus the 10,000 that I didn't get back?
Yeah. So when you pay a bondsman at 10,000, they got an insurance company that's gonna post that 100,000 for them
Okay.
Mhm.
on your behalf,
Okay.
and when the case is over, they get it all back
Okay.
and they keep 10,000.
Okay. Now the cash bond works.
So if you were fortunate enough to have 100,000, you
Oh,
put
is
it up
that-
yourself, you get all that money back at the end.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the 10,000 is yeah. Okay. 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 All right. And what happens if someone reneges? What happens in the event that someone decides, hey, you know what?
I ain't
That's
coming
your
for
name.
it.
I ain't coming. That's your name on that
So
paperwork.
that's why bounty hunters exist because for the bonding company to get their money back, they got to make sure you appear. So they'll
Okay.
send somebody to go get you so they can get their money back.
My biggest problem I had in past with educating a lot of children that was teenagers who committed felonies, right? Just helping the other teenagers who didn't commit felonies to understand the process. And so a lot of times, like with the conversation we have right now, a lot of times adults may know the information, but I think that the all the integral parts of the court systems and what may happen, I think the 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, the 12-year-olds, they need to know that, especially if you talk about a child who's as committed a violent act and went to the decision center and have to sit in there from 13 to 17, right? And they decide, okay, well, the judge says we're going to go ahead and let this child out after 2 years. I think in that particular time of detention, they need to know what's going on, right? Also, children that's in high school need to know also the facts of what's going on so they get the full picture. Because a lot of times they don't get the full picture and understand how this process works until they get caught into a crime, and then they have to look at it from that standpoint. What are your feelings about that?
So let's talk a little bit about youth court jurisdiction.
Yes, sir.
Because youth court falls under the county court system.
Okay.
And like I said, we have 3 county court judges. So Judge Carlin Hicks handles the youth court docket.
Mm-hmm.
And I know she's gonna want me to talk about youth court jurisdiction. All right. Child under the age of 18 charged with certain crimes go to youth court. Okay, what kind of crimes? Crimes that are not involving a deadly weapon.
Okay.
Crimes that don't carry life imprisonment. So if a child is charged with armed robbery, armed carjacking, murder, aggravated assault, those cases do not go to youth court at all.
Wow.
They go straight to the adult court.
Okay. Now, when you say adult court, is that coming into the county court?
County court and circuit court.
Okay. That's where you do the preliminary hearing.
Right.
Okay.
But they're going into the adult system, which is punishment is a part of the end goal of the adult criminal system.
Okay.
Punishment is part of that.
Okay.
Now, when you go to youth court, let's say child gets caught with some marijuana.
Okay.
Or they might have broken into a car, stole something. Those are crimes that don't involve a dangerous weapon. Those offenses go to youth court. And the purpose of youth court is straight up rehabilitation, to help the kids, try to make sure they don't come back. That is the purpose of youth court, is not to punish.
Okay.
So a kid comes in there with marijuana, we're trying to get them some treatment, get them in drug court, and make sure we get them off of whatever substance that is. That's the ultimate goal of youth court.
Okay. Coach, seems like somehow our educational system needs to be integrated with our legal system so that the student, and that question was projected towards, was it positioned?
Yeah.
So they need to get that. How soon do you think a child, and you're a parent too as well, how soon do you think a child needs to be exposed or informed, and with the legalities of what we make decisions and choices on, Judge?
As soon as possible. I mean,
is that 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 2nd grade?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
It's as soon as you think that child can understand it.
Right.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we want to be able to be a beacon and a light to our community, because a lot of times, even me as a therapist, I'm dealing with children that have been in those situations where they've committed a crime. Even if it's not a felony, but it's a crime, and they don't have no clue of what's going on. Then also court adequacy. They don't know that. They have no clue. So when they get into situations, they are even they're talking just off their emotion and not really understanding what's going on. You already know that the executive functioning skills are not even there. You know what I mean? They haven't developed yet, right? So when you educate them in this process, it gives them opportunity to make a better choice and a better decision, because they don't know what the effect that's going to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like when I would go talk to kids, because I was a youth court prosecutor.
Right.
So I'll go talk to kids. Now, a lot of times they didn't know. Like, they have a jail when you mess up.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't going to be no calling mama and all of this. Certain things you do, young as you are, you could be in jail. Some of them had no idea.
No idea.
Coach, when do you think, so are they do you think they're doing any tours and allowing our next ones up to go into these environments, to come into the courtroom? How do we bridge the gap from the educational system to actually being able to come in and sit? We're not doing enough hands-on. We just want to sit in the classroom and teach people how to sit still. So what are some suggestions from there, Judge, that we get our children into these courtrooms and see you do your thing?
Right. So whenever, whoever, if you got some kids, get some kids together, and you want them to come see your courtroom, get in touch with me, get in touch with my court staff, and I'll facilitate that.
Okay.
Let the kids come and see what a preliminary hearing looks like, where somebody's in there, coming in there with the shackles on, mama's in the back crying. Judge set the bond at $100,000. Mama can't get him out. He got kids. He got a family. He made this mistake, and it really hits home to kids when they see that kind of stuff happen.
Yeah.
Coach, we have go ahead, man. I know
Well,
you. I
what's
see.
the other judge that one before you?
Judge Larita Cooper Stokes.
No, before after her.
Judge Peter Tableson.
Judge Peter Tableson. So one of the things that he was talking about is making sure that we do something like that. And there was a reason why, because it's a sense of urgency when you talk about those children, like for instance at charter schools, and they're getting in trouble so much that they're right, and they're out with them. Their actions will be before they come to you.
Absolutely. And the main thing to me is we got to have stuff for these kids to do. The thing that kept me and my brother out of a lot of trouble was being in the band,
Mm-hmm.
playing basketball.
Okay.
Kept us busy, kept us out the streets, and just having something to do. 'Cause I couldn't imagine just having all that free time. Would have been right on out there getting in trouble.
Uh. So when you go to this, when you go to the site, when you go to the site, it talks about the date and time, the duration and the location, case number, the type, which we discussed, jury trial versus a bench trial. Is there one that's? I see the justice court appeal. What? How does that apply?
Okay, so justice court, like I said, the jurisdiction is 0 to 3,500.
Okay.
They call it small claims court. And justice court also handles, traffic tickets and misdemeanors.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go in front of the justice court judge, you are on the losing side, and you want to appeal your case, it comes
Okay.
to county court, and we hear it in county court.
Okay.
It's called a trial de novo, which means you get a new trial as if the first trial didn't happen. I don't look at none of the facts from the first trial. I just hear it, see what kind of outcome we get.
Okay.
Got the right to an appeal, justice court, county court.
Is there a certain time frame that is in effect?
Need to try to get that done within 30 days.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna say CP time. We're gonna say within the first 10 days.
That's
If
right.
you know that's where you're going, don't hesitate. They have the plaintiff attorney, the defendant attorney, and then it has cancellation court reporter. What does it mean? I see some of these have canceled per agreed order.
Yeah, so there might be something where maybe the attorneys might have a conflict. They
Okay.
can't appear on that day or some kind of emergency. Or they might get it resolved. They don't need to hear, like, whatever they were arguing about, they might get that resolved and say, okay, we're going to take it off the docket.
Okay. I see also cancel per a person's name. What does that imply?
Yeah, that's a particular attorney made that request.
Okay.
Because we want to make sure we keep a record of why it was taken off the court's docket.
Mm-hmm.
So we just want to have a record of that.
Okay. I see yes jury. This is under our cancellation court reporter. What yes jury means is going to be a jury trial?
That might be for if they want a court reporter.
Okay.
For some hearings, they have somebody there that's going to type up everything and have a record of it.
Okay.
And then some motions, we don't need a record.
Okay.
Some minor matters we can just resolve it without having to have a record.
Okay. Much respect for the reporter. Is she typing what everyone in?
Yes.
Wow.
Golly.
And that's why I have to tell folks all the time, y'all can't talk at the same time because she
Okay.
can't type what both of y'all saying at the same
Right.
time.
Right. Okay.
Man, that's a challenge.
Okay. And last, but would you just revisit for us what is the okay? So that particular calendar that I just gave out was a silver calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, what is the motion calendar?
Yes.
Motion calendar, motions filed, hundreds of different reasons.
Okay.
But there's some dispute that the attorneys are having prior to getting the trial.
Okay.
Some issue they might want to try to get the case dismissed before trial.
Okay.
I think I got a case that supports it, so we have a hearing. They file a motion, and I hear preliminary matters. This is anything that's involved short of the actual final trial
Mm-hmm.
handled on the motion docket.
Okay.
It could be, literally hundreds of different motions
Angles of it.
possibly filed.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything how has the experience been? Is it what you thought it was going to be? Are you excited about being in a position of, with all the experiences that you have and the insight, the touches, the upbringing, the journeys, the trials and tribulations?
I'm excited about it. The first thing I did was I went to go talk to Judge Winston Key, senior circuit court judge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I knew, what do I need to do? He said, get some opinions which is transcript of cases that Judge Stokes handled. Read 'em.
Oh,
Mm.
Read
she
'em.
has that's a template.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, just read it, and you get an idea of the judge's thought process and all of this.
Wow.
And I read, I said, okay, Judge Stokes clearly cared about the people.
Okay.
And she wasn't going to let anybody get screwed over.
Okay.
So you got to have a love for the people. And you got to have a judge that has a love for the people.
Mm-hmm.
Why were you humble? Where does that humbleness come to go and seek counsel with someone that's been doing it a little bit longer?
To me, that's just common sense.
But common sense ain't common practice, though.
You know, you want to.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to do what's right. I don't want to go in there because if I mess up, I could be messing up somebody's life.
Right.
Mhm.
So I want to be prepared, and I don't know it all.
Okay.
So I want to go find folks that I think, I know they have the knowledge and experience. Now, why not get it from them?
Okay.
I was always taught you don't have to bump your head. If I see you bump
That's
your
true.
head, I ain't got to bump my head too.
That's
Right,
true. That's
right.
true. That is so true. All right, Coach. Anything you want to?
Yeah, I just want to find out how have you been able to balance this new position
Wow,
in your
that-
family
yeah.
life?
Yeah.
So, thankfully, I've had jobs where it was a big caseload, being a public defender, being a prosecutor. So I always had these jobs where I had hundreds of cases on my desk.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always known you got to take time, whether it be go to the gym, just do something to just release. You don't want to burn out, So I don't have a problem with that. Do my work. I'm prepared for my cases. A lot of reading.
Mm-hmm.
I learned it early on. I didn't know it was so much reading.
Okay.
But if you want to do this right, you can do a lot of reading.
Yes.
And other than that, I just take my time, with my kids, my family.
Mm-hmm.
You can balance it.
So your instructors knew beforehand that they had to put that load on you all to get your mindset,
Right.
get your mind and your spirit right.
You know what? It's kind of like being in law school again.
Okay.
I go
Mhm.
home with this big old stack of papers I got to read because those motions, the motion might be 60
Wow.
pages. And it
Mhm.
might be 10 motions. I got to read that stuff.
I'm shaking my
Yeah.
head,
Then
Coach.
it's a response. Then it's a reply. I got to read that stuff.
It's
Right.
being in it. Being in it is different than being on the outside. And you have people that's critics that say, "Oh,
That's that
this person
arena.
should this and they should have did this here." But now you're in the fight. But you're in the fight for you knowing that you have to have the right information, be informed before you go out and give a judgment. That's very important.
And then I know, I'm young. I'm probably one of the younger county court judges in the whole state.
Okay.
So I know folks are probably looking like, does he know what he's doing?
Right.
I got to be prepared.
Yeah. They got you under the microscope.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and the next question I got for you is how have you been able to still participate in all these community functions and community
Ooh,
events?
truth, Coach.
That's
Truth.
important because I'm still seeing you out there. It's like before you actually got into the seat, you're still out there at the community events. And I was like, God, how's he able to have that type of energy to do that?
That's just important. The best thing in the world to me is when I get to meet a child and they be like, wow, I never met a judge look like you.
Okay.
I can't believe you a judge. I love that. So I love just being out, meeting folks, meeting the kids, talking to the kids. If my energy is going to be spent with kids, I think I can have an effect there. Grown folks can be helped
Here
too.
come grown
but
folks.
but I don't have a lot of
I
grown
ain't
folks
finna
that
play
listen
with
to me.
them.
Yeah.
But I think I got kids that will listen to me.
Right.
Mhm.
So I just like being out in the community.
Have you had an opportunity to see people that you've touched in cases,
Mhm.
public, prosecutor, now the judge, and no matter how, and especially ones that weren't, where we tend not to want to hold accountability for ourselves, that have come up to you and said, hey, I really appreciate that decision that you made.
Yeah. So when I was campaigning,
Mhm.
I was in Georgetown. I was walking, knocking on doors, and this car passed by me and hit the brakes. That's him. I said, oh, so they bagged up. He said, you were my prosecutor for my DUI case. He said, man, you were fair.
You were
I'm
fair?
gonna vote for you. I said, oh man, okay.
You mind getting out the car so we can throw these hands? So how did that make you feel as not only as a person, but as a professional
Yes.
person?
It felt good because he said that I prosecuted him. He was found guilty.
Mhm.
Okay.
He lost, but he said you were fair. You didn't try to throw me away. You gave me a chance. He said he went and got his BASAP, his alcohol counseling.
Mhm.
He's
Okay.
like, I'm a better person for it.
Okay.
Mm.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Beautiful.
Reminds me when I got pulled over, the guy said, I'm going to save your life. I said, well, just throw that stuff out the window and save my life that way. The officer told me, he said, man, I like you so much. There's something about you. I want to make sure that I save it. And you know, Judge, if I was to see that man today, I would hug him because he didn't allow me to skate through again.
Mhm.
it changed the whole trajectory of my life. So we appreciate you all making the hard decisions
Yes.
for us that we refuse to make for ourselves.
And,
Yes.
and it's hard, the hard part as a prosecutor, I would see folks that used to spend the night at my house, my old friends, folks I went to school with, my classmates. And, I'm here on this side, and then they charged with murder or this or that. That was always hard.
And I want to ask, how do you defrag?
Yes.
How do you separate bringing that to the house, and how do you defrag?
That's a good question.
So what I would do in my practice, a lot of times I didn't bring my files home.
Oh.
Worked on it at the office. Now, unless I was preparing for trial.
Okay.
You got to work on that stuff all night sometimes.
Okay.
But in general, I'm not bringing it home.
Okay.
You got to set some boundaries in every way, even in your professional life.
Okay.
You got to set some boundaries, because if you don't, it would just drive you crazy. Now, I think one of the hardest jobs in Hinds County is being the youth court judge.
Okay. That's Judge Hicks?
That's Judge Hicks.
And she got a lot of love.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You got to be a special kind of person to do that.
Okay.
They in court every day. They getting calls about kids, and it's a lot.
Okay.
She can't leave her stuff at home.
Okay.
At the office. She got to take it home. But I do have the luxury of being able to leave some stuff at the office.
Okay. All right. Your cases per day. Are you in the courtroom every day, every other day? And how many cases per day are you having to engage in?
We have court a couple times a week. It just depends
Okay.
on the attorneys. When they file their motions, when they want to be heard. Sometimes they might say, well, this is an emergency. I need to come in today and got to take care of it. But on the docket, we might have 30, 40 cases that.
A docket is that day?
That day.
That day.
Wow.
Okay.
That day.
How many days a week?
It depends. Could be 3 times a week. Just depends.
Okay. So the low is 2, the mean is 3, and sometimes maybe 4.
It could be more than that,
Okay.
In trial, be in court every day.
Okay. We tend to want what someone else has.
Woo.
When we should have, when we should be able to shadow, what someone is doing, so that we can be mentally. Now, you'll never be prepared unless you've been there, but it'd be nice to kind of look at, say, okay, now I get a chance to take a peek and see, like, okay, maybe that's not what I really want to do. Or, hey, I can't wait till I do that.
Well, also, you could be whatever role you need to play.
Right.
Because sometimes, we can be on the outside looking in it and saying, oh, I want to do that. But then when you actually get a chance to bite that, and you think it's going to be a lemon, you think it's going to be a strawberry or orange, and it's a lemon. So it's not what you think it's going to be. So I think sometimes we need to be in a supportive role as much as possible, instead of trying to be the people that's in the driver's seat.
Okay. What can commUNITY do more to assist the judge in the courtroom? What can the 501Cs, what can the churches, what can the youth basketball and the youth sports organizations, what can we do more as a community? Now, we're going to take education. That's a whole different entity in itself, but just regular people. What can we do for it to be a little bit more successful? I know we're doing the show, and I'm encouraging you all to please share, because Judge Kings has given us a lot of pertinent. You can't catch it the first time you hear it, so you need to hear it and hear it again.
Listen.
Can you kind of coach us up on what commUNITY could do to support you all, the judges, a little bit more?
Okay, so the first thing that the community do, number one, show up for jury.
Okay.
Show up for jury duty.
We got people that have been waiting years to have their day in court.
And
it's nothing worse than, okay, today is your day, and we don't have enough jurors for you.
Oh, no.
Now you go back to the back of the line.
No.
You got to wait another year or 2 to get back in court. And that has happened.
Okay.
We don't have enough jurors show up, so show up for jury duty.
Okay.
Come on, show up for jury duty.
That is a service like any other. It's a tremendous service.
So you say they go back to the line, which means if I come and I don't have enough jurors, I don't wait till we get enough in the pool.
There's a list. There's a list of people.
So when your turn comes up,
I had to go back because you got somebody right behind you, and it's their turn now.
Ooh, okay.
That's the first thing.
Okay.
Now, so I said, if anybody wants to, got some kids they want to have come to court and all of that, reach out.
Okay.
Sometimes nobody will reach out.
Okay.
And take me up on that offer. Take us up on these offers.
Okay.
We out here willing to help.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? Those are the 2 keys right there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Coach, anything else before we give him these little 3 home? He already told us about, I got different homework this time.
All right, let's roll. Let's roll.
Here we go.
Don't turn it over yet.
Okay. You remember Johnny? Are you old enough to remember Johnny Carson used to take a envelope and stick it up to his head, and he would answer the question before he opened the envelope? All right, go right ahead, Judge. And we just want a little reflection. Yes, sir.
Just
go
give
right
us a
ahead.
little reflection.
You're gonna read it and read it out loud and give us a little reflection.
Title is I Think It's Brave. I think it's brave that you get up in the morning, even if your soul is weary, your bones ache for a rest. I think it's brave that you keep on living, even if you don't know how to. I think it's brave that you push away waves rolling in every day, you decide to fight. I know there are days when you feel like giving up, but I think it's brave that you never. Lena.
Can you give us a little reflection on your experiences and trials and tribulations?
Yeah, just one of not giving up. I don't expect anything to be given to me easily, and when I have to fight, I'm like, okay, that's just par for the course.
Okay.
You gotta be ready to fight. And when things don't go your way, I think that a dream deferred is not a dream denied.
Mm.
You know, I've had so many things that I wanted at a certain time, and it didn't happen at that time. And I later realized it wasn't the right time.
Right.
I got to be on God's time. So yeah, those are my reflections.
Okay. Fantastic. And that none of this is about you. It's all about me.
Okay.
I'm going through this right now.
Yeah.
All right, go right ahead.
Remind yourself of what you have been able to overcome. All the times you felt like you weren't going to make it through, you prove yourself wrong. You are more powerful than you think. That's what I was saying.
Nice. That's a nice statement.
Okay. Any reflection on that one?
Yeah. Tracing back to that saying that scars are here for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Know what you've been through. You can reminder of what you've been through.
So the scar is it's not being defeated.
Right.
Okay.
It's showing that you won, that you did something.
Yeah. I like that. Scars are showing that you won, that you defeated something, that you overcame something. Great.
You become unstoppable when you work on things people can't take away from you. Things like your character, habits, mindset, and attitude.
Boy.
What's up?
Okay. All right. Anything you want to share with the community before we get you out of here that we can? Well, one of the key things is do not show up.
That's right.
When you get your paperwork.
That's right.
That you said you didn't get your paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So do show up.
That's
know
right.
that you're going into an environment where you've got judges, not speaking for anyone else, and hopefully you get to pull of the draw with. Can you request your own judge?
No, you cannot do forum shopping.
Okay, so it's just a rotation of the cases.
Well, if you file a civil case in Hinds County Court, it's going to be with me because I'm the only county court judge that handles civil cases.
Stay in the civil box first, yeah. All right, in closing, and we just can't. We're so humble, Coach. Are you humble?
I'm very humble.
For you to come back, you've assisted us in growing because somebody saw the interview and said, "Man, I got to get Attorney King's then. We got to get him off that desk and get him into a studio."
Yes.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with us going into Monday? Everybody dreads Monday. I call it More Blessings Monday. Okay.
Today
Anything
was
you like
Palm
to?
Sunday.
Huh?
Today was Palm Sunday.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
we got Easter next week. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to share with the community, city of Jackson, Hinds County?
Yeah, so Hinds County Court, that's the people's court. People always say, well, that's your courtroom. It's not my courtroom. That's the Hinds County courtroom. The courtroom belongs to the people of Hinds County. I just get to sit in that chair and make some decisions. Hopefully I try to make the best decisions I can. That's my commitment to it.
Coach, close out, and then I'm gonna close this out, and we're gonna let like today is Sunday. Any outreach events? You going home and kick it with the fam?
Yeah, I'm taking my daughter. Probably gonna go to Chuck E. Cheese or something.
Okay.
She spent the weekend with my mom, so I'm like, okay, let me go. I want to do something with her.
Okay. All right, Coach, go right ahead, sir.
That's always important to make sure that the community is a reflection of you. So when you see the community as a reflection of you, a mirror reflection of you, you can understand their hurts, their pains, their joys, and their triumphs. So I just want to say that, Mr. King, Judge King, you've shown a reflection of ourselves by what you've done in the past and by what you're doing currently. I want to keep you stay motivated to make sure that the next one's up. When they follow your steps, they will have a different roadmap of how they should navigate their lives by the work you've done already and the work you will do. So kudos to you, and what you're doing as judge now, and make sure that everything you're doing is always to the glory of God. So I'm glad that you have decided to stay in this fight and be determined to make sure you're going to make sure community is the most important word that people hear, and how we unify so we can be a better person and we can be a better Jackson. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I want to give a acknowledgement to one of our viewers today, Byron Broomfield.
Yes, that's my boy.
Mission in a Movement.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Doing the work.
Byron said, you ain't got to worry about me pulling up. I'm already outside.
Yes, sir. I love it. I love it.
He said, right man for the job. Check his resume. He's earned it. He's part of the change that this city needs. He was there before elected, and he's still putting in work afterwards. He said 100% certified and official. Much love, Coach. Putting that knowledge and wisdom down. Got to listen. Want to thank the listening and the viewing community. Community
Yes.
Strong for Jackson MS. Next one's up. There cannot be an I without a you. Just stay in the game. You've gotten some very, very inside jewels
Yes.
on how to approach your legal matter.
Yes.
Be mindful of what we're ingesting and digesting through social media. I want to make sure my community understands that sometimes that which we despise the most is what we're becoming ourselves.
Yes.
And I'm speaking on, these next 4 weeks. Encourage the 40,000 who felt like there wasn't a need to come out and bubble. Okay, not beat up on the 20,000
That's right.
that showed up and participated. What they say, one play does not win. Coach, does one play win or lose the game?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Okay, so those of us that are on the keyboards, you get one bubble.
One bubble.
You get one bubble, and you all are really starting to personalize. And this is my coach. This is my first really engaging electoral process.
Right.
And I'm seeing some good, I'm seeing some indifferences, and I'm seeing some things that can really go out of whack. If you all felt a certain way because of the presidential election, are you going to come back and repeat and go through the same emotions and the same feelings? So I'm seeing a whole lot, and I'm not taking away from what people do. But
Right.
I want to thank you all for hearing, because this is an offense
This is
program. We want to hear
Offensive
about the
program.
trials and tribulations, how you overcame. We want to get some information, some knowledge. So just be mindful that you get one vote. And sometimes putting it on social media is not where you exercise informing, educating, building relationships. Because in leaving this show this morning, what impression are you imprinting on people that's watching?
That's important.
Yes, so we want to thank you all so much for loving on Community Strong for Jackson MS. Judge YEMI Kings, thank you so much. He's extended an invitation to the community. Let's get our babies into these legal environments so that they can start touching it and seeing it, because us talking to them at the house with all this energy and noise, it's not making a difference. So, hey, Community Strong for Jackson MS, Solid Rock Show, next one's up. And I got to hit this, my little poem, Coach. Every now and then someone comes along and shows us who we are and what we might become. It's a matter of being in the right place at the right time. But it does not happen to everyone. Mr. YEMI Kings, Attorney YEMI Kings, Judge YEMI Kings, thank you so much for displaying what manhood, what community involvement and community connections looks like. There's no blaming and shaming, no deflecting. Coach, you have a great day.
Yes, sir.
All right, this is Mr. Hey, Coach Abasi.
Hey.
Signing off, and you guys, we're going to get that picture. Anything else? Did we do okay, Judge?
Great job.
Okay. Hey, man, we growing over here.
That's it.
All right. You all have a great Sunday. Peace. All right, let me turn it off.